Welcome, and thank you for standing by. All lines are in listen-only mode until the question and answer session of today's call. At that time, to ask a question, please press star 1. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would like to turn the call over to Ms. Janice Wingo, International Trade Administration. Thank you. You may begin.
Good morning, and welcome to today's webinar on IP protection at Taobao. This is an update to a webinar we did last January, and we're lucky to have with us today two attorneys from Taobao who will give a presentation on IP protection at Taobao. Afterwards, they will be open to answering questions and will be joined by a member of one of the vice presidents at Taobao's parent company, John Spielek. So please get your questions ready to ask our attorneys. Today, the presentation will be given by Ricky Shen, who is a senior attorney at Taobao. He received his LLB at Hunan University and was a visiting scholar at the University of Houston. Also giving a presentation is Brian Shao, who is legal counsel at Taobao. He received his LLB from the China University of Political Science and Law in Beijing and from Chicago, an LLM from Chicago Kent University. We're really happy to have these two attorneys here. They're very active in IP protection at Taobao. We look forward to their presentation and start thinking of your questions. Brian?
Yes.
You may proceed.
Okay. So hello everyone. I'm Brian Shao from the legal department of Taobao. It's my pleasure to be here to share with all of you Taobao's IPR protection system and our policies. So now let's begin. And my presentation will cover 4 parts. I will start with the overview of our company, then I will move on to introduce our IPR protection system, followed by demonstrating how to use our online reporting system. So I'll end up with our enforcement measures. So Taobao was launched in March 2003 in Hangzhou according to Chinese laws. As a Chinese legal entity, we run our business, including our IPR protection policies on the Chinese legal system. Unlike other internet retailers like Amazon or Walmart, Taobao doesn't sell merchandise directly to consumers. Instead, we provide a sales channel to third parties to allow them to make transactions. This is the front page of Taobao.com. As of January 30th, 2012, 89% of transactions made over Taobao are to consumers located in China. We have become the largest C2C and B2C online marketplace in China, with more than 800 million product listings and over 800 million registered users. We protect intellectual property rights from 6 aspects. The first part is the reporting system, which allows us to process right owners' complaints efficiently. Secondly, it's our policy and the Taobao rules, with which we use to impose controls on our users. Consumer protection is another part we care about. We don't tolerate any consumer infringements and try our best to protect consumer interests. Additionally, we proactively pursue cooperation with right owners, associations, and the governments to fight against counterfeits. At last, to enhance the awareness of Taobao users to consciously be compliant with IP laws and the Taobao regulations, we operate IPR trainings and educations to our users in different cities. Here's some numbers about our takedowns regarding infringing listings. In 2011, we have taken down 63 million suspicious products, among which 8.7 million is resulted from right owners' complaints. The total amount of taken downs is almost 4 times than in 2010. As of November in 2012, we've already deleted over 82 million alleged listings. This pie chart shows the distribution of complaints on the online platform by type. Trademark infringement accounts for 55%, followed by copyright, among which improper use accounts for 22%, and piracy items for 11%, and patent right infringement accounts for 8%. By the end of last year, the reported platform has over 18,000 users, and we receive complaints 465 cases a day, and we have taken down listings approximately to 20,000 a day. As I mentioned, the online platform is a vital channel for right owners and us to handle IPR infringement. The system was put in place in the early 2011. This arrow diagram shows the general process, how the system works. First, you need to register onto the platform. After our personnel have verified and reviewed your registration and IPR materials, you can file a complaint to trigger the reporting procedure. Listings will be taken down immediately if the complaint is qualified. Then the seller is entitled to offer a counter notice after his listing is deleted. The listing will be reinstated when the counter notice is accepted by the right owner or is determined valid by Taobao. A further point, penalty will be imposed on offenders if infringement is confirmed by Taobao. I will cover it later. And in the first quarter of this year, we are going to improve the system to make it more user-friendly and transparent. Now I will demonstrate how to file a complaint through this platform. This is the web page where you log onto the system. You need to register first. On the right side, there is a special portal. It is for overseas small and medium enterprises who don't have an entity in China. They can file complaints via email. I will also cover it later. And we also provide an English instruction to assist foreign right owners to use this platform. For the reporting platform, the first step is to register. You need to provide your basic contact information, like your email address, your contact person, your correspondent address, your mobile phone number, your country, your region, and so on. And you also need to upload the copy of your business license. Then, after reading the user agreement, you need to after your identity has been verified by our personnel, you can submit your intellectual property proof. For trademark and patent right, the China registered certificate is necessary. For copyright, according to the Berne Convention, we accept international copyright documents or proof or any other materials proving you are the right owner. Before you submit your IPR proof, you need to download and sign a statement in which you state all documents, materials, and the information you provide to us are true and accurate. Once your your identity and ownership of IP rights have been confirmed, you may file your complaint against the infringers. Here is how to submit your complaint. Due to the system bottleneck, 300 listings is a ceiling for a single complaint, and you need to provide a preliminary evidence to show the existence of infringement. So, for example, you can specify reasons why the product infringes your rights in the box, or you can upload supporting materials like a comparison chart to point out differences between genuine goods and fake goods. After you have successfully filed a complaint, we will delete the listings and allow the infringer to offer a counter notice. Please remember the accused sellers have 3 days to offer their counter notice through the system. Their counter notice and the supporting materials will be transferred to you via the system automatically with an email and PM reminders. Please respond to their counter notice in 3 days. Otherwise, your complaint will be treated withdrawn. This is the SME system. You can enter from the online platform web page. As I said, this system is for overseas small and medium enterprises which have no entity or presence within the PRC territory. It allows you to email us directly to report any infringing activities. This is the page you will see when you enter to the system. It reminds you what kind of documents you need to provide. First, your identification, for example, your passport for individuals, business license for companies. If you are an agent, you need to get an authorization letter. Second, proof of your IPR ownership. And third, you need to specify why listings infringe your rights, as well as provide specific item links. Now, I'm going to introduce our IPR enforcement measures. To carry out our IPR protection policy and deter offenders, we've set up a set of point deduction rules collaborated with penalty measures. As for point deduction rules, every online store has 48 points at the beginning of every calendar year. Their points will be deducted when they break Taobao rules, for example, commit an IPR infringing activity. Here's the detail showing how this mechanism works. 2 points per listing if the seller is suspected of selling counterfeits or pirated items, such as when a seller implies that a product is counterfeit in a product description, but the merchandise has not been tested or proved. 12 points for each actual occurrence of selling counterfeits, meaning that the item has been verified as counterfeit by an authenticity test, court ruling, or administrative decision. 24 points for each occurrence of a serious offense, meaning, for example, that the merchant repeatedly sells counterfeits, or the seller expressly admits that all merchandise sold in its store is counterfeit. 48 points for each occurrence of a particularly serious offense, meaning that the seller is accused by authorities of selling counterfeits or pirated items. The illegal gain is huge or has serious consequences, and he has or will be prosecuted for criminal charges. And at the beginning of this year, we amended our rules for those who has been cumulatively deducted 24 points or more for selling counterfeits. the record will not be cleared at the end of the year. They will carry a 24 points record to the next year. So different deduction will lead to different punishment. Accumulation of 12 points, store will be blocked from search result for 7 days, during which time a public warning notice will be displayed on the storefront. The owner is forbidden from posting any listings, sending internal messages, or using BBS. Accumulation of 24 points, store is blocked from search result and all listings will be taken down for 14 days. Other similar penalties will be imposed, like 12 points scenario. Accumulation of 36 points, store is closed for 21 days. Other similar penalties will also be imposed. Accumulation of 48 points, the account of the store will be permanently terminated, which means that the owner of store can't open any stores or doing business in Taobao.com anymore. To fulfill right owners' request on learning infringement history of their reported sellers, we developed our system and accomplished a record display function. This picture shows a section in the merchant's DSR, which is a direct sale rating profile, that indicates how many times the merchant has been penalized in the past 3 days for alleged IPR infringement. This function also helps consumers to acquire more information about this seller. For books and video audio products, Taobao asks users to produce a valid and active publication license. In the meantime, by 22nd December 2011, Taobao had removed all online booksellers who have no brick-and-mortar stores. And last year, we have put in place a function to display sellers' publication license on the storefront. In that case, all licenses are visible to any visitors by clicking on a button on the seller's profile. To benefit responsible right owners and make their complaints be processed more efficiently, we operate a tiered program. From the chart, we can see more accurate a complaint is, more efficiency the process will be. On the contrary, if a complainant has a high rate of wrongful complaints with some dishonest activities, he will not get a fast response from us. Lastly, to fight against offline counterfeit market, which is the original source of counterfeits, we are working with authorities and IPR owners closely. On one hand, we proactively report suspicious activities to authorities like PSB, AIC. In 2011, we have totally provided 812 pieces of useful clues, which helps to open 218 cases and 1,893 Taobao users' accounts were involved. On the other hand, to help IP owners take further legal proceedings against the counterfeit dealers, we disclose sellers' registration information to them when their complaints are qualified. So our goal is protecting intellectual property rights and clean and improve the market environment. All brands and right owners are welcome to contact us on jointly combating counterfeits. Thank you for your patience. And if you have any question, you also can email me at the.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if there are any questions that may be addressed to Brian and his team at Taobao. Operator, can you tell people how they can ask a question?
Yes, thank you. If you have a question or a comment, please press *1. You will be prompted to record your name. To withdraw your question, press *2. One moment while we wait for the first question.
If anybody's listening at home, Lawyer Shao has said that he would be willing to take email questions. As you can see, his email is posted on this last slide. It is muyan.ssj@taobao.com if you have any email questions for Brian Shao.
Again, if you do have any questions, please press *1.
I have one question that sometimes U.S. companies ask. I understand that you have to have a Chinese registered trademark in order to file a complaint. What if you have filed for your Chinese trademark registration but it has not yet been granted? So you have one in the United States, a registration in the United States, maybe a registration in other countries, but your registration in China is still in the application process. What can you do in that kind of situation?
We still ask right owners to provide us a valid and active PRC registered trademark. So what I mean is the right owners still need to wait until the authorities granted their trademark.
Yeah, sometimes it takes 24 months just to get a registration through. That's even if it's not a fraudulent registration, not someone else has filed a fraudulent application. Is there any other methods that the rights holder can do while they're waiting for the registration to grant?
I understand that it may take a long time, but it may be that the authorities is reviewing their applications. So I'm afraid that because of the territory traits of trademark, they still need to wait until they get the grant.
Okay.
All right. I actually do see that we do have a question from Mr. Kurt Courtney. You may begin.
Yeah, that was kind of off the same question I had, because you had mentioned that Taobao will accept international copyrights. Did I hear that right? So is that U.S. copyrights, or is that just copyrights from the EU, or when you say international copyrights, and that does not extend to international trademarks, is that right?
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, we accept international proof or any documents proving that you have copyright.
So then in a trademark, you still need to have the PRC trademark?
Yes.
Okay.
Brian, if you have an international copyright and it has been extended to the PRC, is that considered a valid PRC trademark?
If the authority has granted their international trademark are protected in China, that's okay. They still need to trigger a procedure to let the authority the AIC to grant the protection.
So, Kurt, if your clients have an international mark, they need to actually designate China so it can go through the AIC's review provisions.
Yes, there is a procedure that allow AIC to give a grant to admit that such international trademark will be protected in China.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we do have another question from Mr. Philip Pittsford. You may begin.
Thank you. Good morning. I have a question on the trademarks. You mentioned that a company needs to have an active, viable Chinese trademark registered. There are a number of different categories of trademark registrations. Is there a specific category that one needs to have?
Yes, if you register to the AIC and you get a valid trademark certificate, there will be a category on your certificate.
Yes, that I understand. But let's say, for example, I register in Class 3. Will that protect my product on your sales platform? Because you're more of a retail platform. My question is, do I need a retail type trademark protection?
If your product, if the alleged infringing products fall within your category, the trademark category, and I believe you will be your trademark will be protected. But as I said, we're only a platform, and we don't involve in any sales made by our sellers or users. So you need to make sure the products selling by the users infringe your trademark.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Winkle, at this time I don't see any other questions.
Brian, I have a question. This regards patents. Wonder if the U.S. company has an invention patent registration in China, and they file a complaint based on that Chinese invention patent registration. What if the other side comes back and says, we have a utility model registration in China? How do you work that out?
That depends what kind of complaint the owner want to file. If he alleged utility copyright infringement, he needs to upload his utility PRC registered certificates. If he alleges invention patent infringement, he needs to upload his invention patent certificates. So and as I said, the right owner also needs to describe the reasons or provide some preliminary evidence to let us know why the product infringes their either patent right, invention patent rights or utility patent.
But oftentimes, the subject matter of both an invention patent and utility model overlaps since there's no substantive examination of the utility model. What happens in such a case?
We still tell the utility patent and the invention patent. So if the product falls within the scope of their patent right, just let us know. So, am I clear?
There's also a question somebody has written in online. They have asked, they asked you a question regarding the infringement history information that is shown online. Could you please clarify, is the history 3 days of history or 30 days of history?
30 days history.
Okay.
Ms. Winkle, I do show that we have another question at this time from Ms. Cora. You may begin.
Hello, I'm just wondering about the copyright protection. Does one have to have a formal filed copyright, or is it sufficient to have a copyright claim? For example, if a seller has lifted something from our website, would we be able to make a claim based on the copyright notice on our website?
Yes, if this website is your own and you have the copyright of the photos on your website, you can show us the specific web links trace back to your website and point out which picture you own the copyright, and let us know. Then we can process the complaint.
Thank you.
We do not show any other questions at this time.
If I could follow up on that.
This is John Spielek. I wanted to ask if John could speak, actually.
Yeah, it's John Spielek. I just, on that last question, depending on, remember, there are more than one platform here, so if you have a photograph that you believe has been taken on Alibaba.com, there is a separate, the Ali Protect system is used there to make the claim of copyright to get the photo taken down. So the answer to that question is factually dependent on which platform you found the misappropriated photograph on. Alibaba.com is our English language site that is accessible from around the world.
This is John Spielek, and he is the Vice President International Affairs at Taobao sister company, Alibaba, Alibaba.inc. Is that correct?
Alibaba Group.
The Alibaba Group. And John has actually been very gracious to say that if you do have any kinds of questions or concerns, that he's been happy to answer them. And his website is his email address is available on our webinar from last year, which went through both the Alibaba and the Taobao takedown procedures, and that's at stopfakes.gov. John, do you have any other suggestions for the U.S. companies who are listening?
No, I think we've done our best to try to lay out. Basically, we feel like we have a system that is something that the companies understand because it's very similar to other systems for platforms around the world. We have some unique situations for Taobao with regard to sales in China, but we try to be very consistent and open about them. We're more than happy to take individual questions offline. We've spent the better part of the last year engaging with a number of brands and associations. We've talked with Kurt and some others, and we will continue to do so. We've talked to a lot of the members of his association, and we'll continue to do so. We have committed that engagements like this one are going to continue because it is our goal to not only to talk about what it is we do, but to take good feedback and make what we do even better. So that's the spirit in which we are trying to approach this.
Thank you. This is an update from the presentation that John and his team gave last year, because there have been some updates since then. But if you have any questions on takedown procedures at Alibaba, I suggest that you listen to the webinar posted on stopfakes.gov from January 2012, and that goes through the takedown procedures for Alibaba.com.
Ms. Wingo, we do have 2 more questions.
Right.
The next question comes from Mr. Kurt Courtney. You may begin.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, good. One of the concerns that we've heard from some of our members is that when one of our members issues a complaint, they have to give so much detail as to why they know that the infringing article or the alleged infringing article is infringing, that actually serves to provide the infringers education on how to make something more legitimate. And the presentation was great, but I was kind of curious as to how the new system or this updated system is going to serve to better protect, I guess, kind of some of the, for lack of the kind of this trademark secret stuff that our members need to have kind of, behind the scenes for us to be able to, there's like, I guess, a level of trust that seems to be missing. I was wondering how can we prevent that from happening in the future under the new system?
Well, I'd like to take that from a philosophical point first, and then Brian can answer from a practical point.
Sure.
I think it's an important point that there is a lack of trust, and I'm going to be honest with you. Anybody who's studied the engagement pattern we've engaged in the past 12 months, at all levels of industry, at any level of brand. You look at the brands who have engaged with us and who are very happy right now, MPAA, RIAA, a number of others who have put their trust in us and have sort of reached back across the aisle, to put it in Washington speak. I think are finding that we are in the business of trying to run a platform and trying to not just abide by the law, but try to actually do the right thing for all the key stakeholders. And I think it's it's unfortunate that there are some brands out there that it is true and say, well, if we tell you, you'll just tell the bad guys. Kurt, I don't know how to deal with that. I mean, I think it's going to take some more conversation between us, your association, and your members for them to see that we're not in the counterfeiting business. We have no interest in these people being on our platform, and we certainly have no interest in helping them better defeat your system. So, we're going to have to find a way to begin to trust each other on that front. Absent that, we do need the detail because, as you know, there are circumstances where goods that are alleged to be infringing turn out to not actually be infringing because, let's say, they're secondhand or there's some other factor at play. So we can't just sort of say, hey, you said it, therefore it must be true. But by the same token, there's got to be a way to find a more happy medium to where we can get enough information to make a decision and move on. We're not a judge and jury. This isn't a court of law, but it's trying to be a common sense system that does take care of the rights of all the stakeholders.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, and if we could, definitely at some point, we've been talking about it offline. We'd like to do something like that with you to kind of enhance that communication.
I think in fairness to everybody on the call, I think you can attest to the level and the depth and the amount of time we've spent in your office in the last 12 months to understand that we're not just playing around here. We're really serious about this.
Absolutely.
And we are trying to find good solutions, and we're going to keep at it.
Great. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Mr. Mike Messick. You may begin.
Yeah, first of all, I was just wondering if there's a way to print a copy of the presentation from this webinar that we're looking at today.
An audio recording of the presentation will be posted at stopfakes.gov, so you can see the slides and hear Brian give the presentation all at the same time. So the slides move in concert with the presentation, with the slides.
Okay, and that's printable when it's on stopfakes.gov?
No, it's not printable, but you can actually pause each slide if you wish. You could pause it, during his presentation, so you could view each slide more in more detail.
Okay.
Mike, hi. This is Florence from Alibaba Group. I just wanted to point out the English step-by-step instructions are also available on our website. If you have a pen and paper now, it's QINQUAN.taobao.com, which is the address of the online reporting system. And then in English on the right, it says instructions for online takedown.
Okay. Okay, that was all I had.
Okay, and at this time, I don't see any other questions.
I was just going to move. Ricky's slides to slide 8. As you can see, this is the same website that Florence just mentioned. If you visit this website, as Florence said, that the procedures are there. Well, I want to thank everybody for today's webinar. Ricky and his team said that they would be available for questions. You can also review the webinar on stopfakes.gov and also listen to the last year's webinar, which includes takedown procedures at Alibaba. If I can just plug for tomorrow there'll be a webinar at 11 o'clock Eastern on preliminary injunctions. If there are no more questions, again, thank you to Ricky, Brian, and the Taobao team.
Thank you.
And Ms.
Thanks, everybody.
And Ms. Wingo, there is no other questions at this time.
All right. Thank you again, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes today's conference. You may disconnect.
Mm-hmm.